roast chicken. I can do this in my sleep. So I'm going to just check the chicken for any leftover pin feathers. And I'm going to pat it dry on the outside. And I do that so that when I brush it with butter and salt and pepper, it'll stick to it. All the giblets have been taken out and saved for another time. So I'm just going to stand it up like this and just salt and pepper the inside. And all you need to do is just take this whole lemon, cut it in quarters, and just stuff it in the middle. I'm going to take this entire head of garlic, cut it right in half. It's going to be just like a hint of garlic, and it gets into the juices in the vegetables in the pan. It's so delicious. And then I have some fresh thyme, and just stuff it right inside this great chicken. Now all I have to do is brush of butter on the top, salt and pepper, and it's ready to go. You want to melt the butter, but not let it burn. Butter's actually better for this than olive oil. The butter has some milk solids in it that burn a little bit, so it makes the chicken nice and brown. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to brush the entire outside of this chicken, this gorgeous little chicken, and then season it with salt and pepper. I know it seems like a lot of salt, but it's really important for the chicken to have lots of flavor, and that'll do it. And pepper. Okay, this looks gorgeous. Now the next thing I'm going to do is truss it, which is sort of to tie it up so that it cooks evenly. The whole point of trussing is if its little legs are out like this, the legs can very easily get burnt and the meat can get overcooked. So what I want to do is pull it into its body so it cooks really well. And all I have to do is tie the legs together and it'll do that. And you'll see. There are all these very complicated ways to truss a chicken, but this is about as easy as it gets. So I want you to take a length of kitchen twine and just tie these little legs together. And I leave long ends so it's easy to take the twine off. Nobody wants to eat twine for dinner. So just like that. And then its little wings just go under here. Just tuck them under. The whole bird doesn't have to be wrapped in twine. I've seen some birds that look like they're in bondage. Roast chicken's just the best kind of comfort food. And the good news is it can be a really simple meal or it can be a really elegant one. Okay, that's ready to go. And now I'm going to make some vegetables. So all the juices from the chicken are going to get into the vegetables and they'll all cook together, and it's going to be so delicious. So into the oven, 425 degrees for about an hour and a half. Can't wait. That roast chicken smells so good. Oh, looks perfectly done. It's been in for about an hour and a half, and there are lots of ways to tell chicken is done. Oh, and all those delicious juices coming out into the vegetables. So the first test, I'm just going to take this little string off so nobody ends up eating it. First test is to shake hands with its leg. If it wobbles like that, it's perfect. The second one is to cut between the leg and the thigh and just make sure the juices are running clear. And if they are, it's definitely done. And it's done. So I'm just going to cover it with aluminum foil. It's really important when you're roasting meats, chicken, beef, anything, to let it rest for about 20 minutes after it comes out of the oven. I'm just going to keep it covered so it stays nice and warm. And all the juices run back into the meat, and it makes it so delicious. And then I think I'll put the vegetables back in the oven and let them caramelize a little bit while the chicken rests. Resting for about 20 minutes. It's going to be perfect. Time to carve it. So the trick to carving a chicken is I'm going to pull the leg off first. I find that easiest. So I usually take the legs off first, put them on my platter, and depending on how big the legs are, I'll just carve them a little bit, but not too much, into sort of chunks. And then the wing comes off. Ugh, it's just so juicy inside. It's just wonderful. A friend of mine said that Julia Child, how's that for a teacher, showed her how to do this, and it's really brilliant. I've done it ever since. Take the entire breast off in one piece and then slice it directly across like this. The whole thing goes on the plate. When you cook a chicken at high temperature, the skin's one of the best parts because it's nice and crisp. And now the vegetables, I'm going to keep this for later for chicken stock. I'm just going to mix it all together. All those juices. Oh, it's just delicious. And all of these carrots and fennel and onions and fresh thyme. I'm just going to put it right on the platter with the chicken. I'm going to take all the juices of the vegetables and the chicken in the bottom and just run them all over the chicken. Really use everything in that pan. Just fabulous. Maybe a little sprinkling of good kosher salt over the top. Who wouldn't want to be home for this dinner?